Hello everyone, this is Douster and welcome to another video. And in today's video, I will be summarizing and giving my review on the new movie Bob Marley One Love that just came out on Valentine's Day this year. Trigger warning as there will be spoilers and some smoking involved. Kingsley Ben-Adir stars as Bob Marley, who you might know as the bad guy Gravik in Secret Invasion, or one of the Kens from Barbie, and co-starring is Lashana Lynch, who plays Bob's wife, Rita Marley. You might know Lashana Lynch from Captain Marvel as she plays Maria Rambeau, Captain Marvel's best friend and Monica Rambeau's mom. Before the movie starts, we get an introduction from Ziggy Marley, Bob's son. The movie starts in an island of Jamaica where Bob Marley, his kids, and other Jamaicans are seen playing soccer or whatever sport that might be, since countries have a variety of games in their own countries that look similar to the ones in US. Out of nowhere, a car drives by shooting bullets at the group. It didn't look like anyone got killed, but in the car, a young Ziggy asked why they were getting shot at. They go home as we see Rita, who is taking care of her and Bob's kids. Before I get into the assassination scene, I want to talk about the flashbacks Bob had, since they're mostly childhood flashbacks before he got popular as a musician. In one of them, we see a young Bob Marley as he sees his father for the first time while Bob is hiding from the corner. His mother begs Bob's father to be a part of Bob's life, but the father says no and says that Bob is not his kid. Bob is half Jewish and Jamaican since his skin is a lot lighter than other Jamaicans. The second one is where the young Bob runs out of crops as the crops are all set on fire. Out comes a guy with a horse, which in the first flashback, Bob's dad is also seen taking off with the horse. At first, I thought it was his dad, but in the end, I think it was Jah, who is a god of Rastafari religion that Bob had beliefs in. Or maybe it was Bob himself somehow. The other flashbacks show how Bob met Rita and how their relationship developed over time. One of them talks about how they feel uncomfortable in their own skin, but they eventually learn to accept one another. The next flashback shows Bob and another man in dreads introducing Bob to Rastafari and inhales from a ball. Another flashback is where Bob and the Wailers record in the studio. One of the guys, I think the owner of the studio, had a gun on him. They go in and the guy doesn't seem happy with the first song they play, until Bob and the group decide to sing another song called Simmer Down, and the owner and some guy behind the screen enjoy it and allow the group to record. Going back to the present time in this movie, Bob and his bandmate are in a house rehearsing, and these two guys sneak in as Rita sees from the car. Sadly for her, she gets shot in the head. One of the intruders sees Bob, and Bob also sees him, but just stands there with a disappointed look on his face. The intruder shoots Bob and one of his band members, but Bob and the other guy survive. We then see Bob barely bleeding while they throw Rita to the hospital. Rita survives as the doctor tells Bob. The management told Bob to not go forward with the concert as the assassination was just to scare him so that he would not be able to play. Bob goes with it anyway and sees Rita as she has checked herself out of the hospital. He starts the show and has some trauma as he sees the intruder about to shoot Bob, but it was just Bob's mind messing with him. After the concert, Bob tells Rita to take the kids and go to the US so that they will be safe while Bob goes to London. In London, they checked out the punk scene and record for another album, which happens to be Exodus. The band recruits an electric guitarist and they all smoke while working on the album. Rita comes over to check on Bob, and the group followed by the band going to Paris, where things got heated between Rita and Bob. Rita starts noticing that Bob's manager Dan isn't really looking out for the band's interests. Bob gets jealous when he sees Rita talking to another guy, and they go outside where Rita wasn't happy with the way things are. She tells Bob that she takes care of their kids and his kids from other women, as that is the only time the movie ever mentions Bob's kids from other women. In the next scene, Bob almost beats up his manager, but Rita tells him to stop. As Bob sits, one of the management notices Bob's purple nail and tells Bob to go see a doctor. Bob does, and the doctor tells Bob that he has cancer known as acral lentiginous melanoma, or simply melanoma. Bob and Rita talk for a moment, and she tries to convince Bob to go back to Jamaica. They eventually did, and the Jamaicans welcomed Bob with excitement. During those days in Jamaica, Bob meets the guy who shot him and begs Bob for forgiveness. Bob said that he is not the kind of person who holds a grudge, and I think he forgives the shooter. Outside, Bob sings redemption songs around the fire, and his kids and Rita eventually join. The movie ends with Bob and the Wailers performing on stage. Captions showed what happened in the future events, such as Bob Marley dying in 1981 at the age of 36. The pros of this movie are that the songs had me moving once they started playing. Even though Bob's music is really old, it's still timeless and is enjoyed by lots of people, including myself. Heck, after I left the theater, I went to Target and Starbucks and they had Bob Marley music playing, which was a coincidence since I just finished watching that movie that same day. This movie made me fall in love with Bob's music all over again, since I haven't listened to a lot of his other songs besides Is This Love. There was a scene at the very end where someone asks Bob about how music can connect with people or something like that, and Bob said yes. I also like how Bob's kids are involved, but it's also a bad thing as well. Cons of this movie are that it doesn't really go into further detail on the war of Jamaica that was going on at the time. We only got a drive-by shooting and luckily no one died, but that was pretty much it. I also saw a video that Bob never forgave the guy who shot him at Bob's house. The assassins were 3 people who got executed. There's also a Who Shot the Sheriff documentary on Netflix, and it turned out to be a drug lord in Jamaica. The movie also doesn't show the love affairs Bob had with Rita. Rita also has 3 kids from other men besides Bob. I feel like Bob's kids wanted to make the movie into a romantic movie about their parents, hence why it's called One Love, and it was also released on Valentine's Day. The kids probably didn't want the fans or anyone else to think that their father was just a smoking guy and the guy who gets around with women. It was an okay movie, but it definitely missed a lot of important things, especially that one concert where Bob had these 2 guys, I think they were prime ministers, hold or shake hands at the end of the concert in order to bring some kind of peace. They also missed out on the Buffalo Soldier song too. It also demonstrated that music can bring peace, and Bob did it in such an incredible way. I give this movie a 6 out of 10, as it's more of a tribute movie than an actual biography kind of movie, and it was hard to understand what the cast were saying most throughout the movie. If there was a time where captions were needed, this was it. I did see comments from other people saying that they should have gotten Jamaicans to play the characters, which I agree with. I mean, Hollywood needs more diversity. Bob is also Syrian Jewish from his dad's side. Kingsley didn't really look like Bob much, nor follow the words of the songs, as I think he just lip synced throughout the movie, but he did the best that he could. Even though Bob Marley is no longer alive, his spirit, music, and goals for peace live on through his family and us, the fans. Anyway, let me know what you guys think of this movie. I thought it was an okay type of movie, but luckily I was able to pay for $5, although definitely not something I would probably watch, but it was fine. But anyway, let me know if you guys like this format too, because I usually do it outside, but if you guys like it this way, let me know. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Comment, like, subscribe for more videos, and until next time, bye guys.